So Antony's representation has called out Ruben Amorim. It's alright when you actually have a good start at another football club to come out being bullish and start talking about things, isn't it? What would have happened if Antony didn't perform well in La Liga? Well, we're going to go through everything that his agent has said about Ruben Amorim in detail as well. A definite deliberate attack from Antony's side of things on Ruben Amorim when you read into the amount that's been written and even numbers and percentages thrown in there as well. So we'll go through all of that in a minute as well. Manchester United's travelling squad, we've got Ruben Amorim's press conference to cover as well. Well, live, that should be coming to us within the next 10 to 15 minutes. It's always a little bit more difficult when the press conference is abroad because you don't know if flight times. United are usually late and it is very rare that these press conferences go down on time. So we're going to just wait it out. We're obviously going to cover all of the other news as well. I was at Carrington today. I'll tell you what I was told and what was going around in terms of conversations around Manchester United amongst the media and everything else around Manchester United's news throughout. But we are starting with Antony and his agent attacking Ruben Amorim. I think it is quite a vocal attack, really. No matter which way you look at it, you can't defend it. He's having a go at what Ruben Amorim said regarding the physicality of the Premier League compared to La Liga, and that's probably why Antony is successful and dealing with the games over in Spain better than what he did when he was over in the Premier League. I think that was quite fair in terms of Ruben Amorim, what he said there. The physicality factor from the Premier League to La Liga is 100%. More. Well, not 100% more. That's probably a bit harsh on the Spanish league, but there are some tough players in the Spanish league, and I think his agent does have a point. But before we get into our opinions on this and what you want to say in the chat on it, amongst everything else, so please do get into the chat. Make sure you have subscribed to make sure you can get involved in the live chat if you want to have a go and get your piece across. Obviously, make sure that you give the video a like as well before we get into it. And let's get into what Antony's agent actually said first of all before we get your opinions on it. We respect Ruben Amorim's opinion, but we do not agree with his point of view at all. Attributing Antony's lack of success at Manchester United to the physical factor is superficial analysis that does not correspond to reality. The truth is that Antony has been given enough confidence to play his best football. Of Amorim's 15 games in charge of Manchester United, he was only used Antony 9 of them, a total of 252 minutes played. That represents only 18.6% of the total possible minutes. How can you judge an athlete in these conditions? Perhaps it was not his intention, but his statement devalues La Liga when the Spanish football has one of the most competitive leagues in the world, with teams that constantly participate in the final stages of the Champions League and the Europa League, to that matter. The reality is that Antony is since arriving at Real Betis, has become one of the best players in the team and in the competition itself. Showing all his potential when given the right conditions to play his football. This shows that that's the problem was not physical but related to the context and the way he was treated in Manchester. Many players who fail at United have success at other clubs, which raises the question of whether the problem really lies with the players. Shots fired from the SEG group there. Are we surprised? No, we're not. Let's be honest. It didn't go down well with Ten Hag and SEG and Manchester United. It's not going down well with Antony. And Ruben Amorim mentioned anything. Just making a passing comment about the physicality of the Premier League and why it might suit Antony better being in La Liga has raised this from Antony's agent. Breaking that down in sections, the fact that he's gone into detail. 252 minutes played, 18.6% of a possible minutes played out of everything that was available to Antony while Ruben Amorim was at Manchester United. La Liga is one of the best leagues in the world. Antony has just come in and is now one of the best players in La Liga. That's what he said. He's now one of the best players in La Liga. Well, for his first 5 games, he's done really well. And we've said this ourselves. We've said that Antony has performed well and is, hopefully for Manchester United's sake, actually going to get a bit of value on his price tag and give us the opportunity to sell him in the summer. and get a decent price for him. So if he is one of the best players in La Liga right now, maybe, Mr. Agent, you should be doing your best and your job to actually get the best value for your player and make sure that La Liga can afford his wages, which you demanded of Manchester United in the first place. Because really, when you look at it that way, he really hasn't fulfilled his needs at Manchester United. He hasn't performed well at United. He's performed nowhere near the money that you actually negotiated in. So let's see if Antony's agent is as good as what his player is, which is apparently one of the best in La Liga right now. Let's see if his agent is one of the best in getting him a wage at La Liga. Before you start running your mouth, just remember that it is only a loan and he will be coming back to Manchester United in the summer first of all. So let's just look at it that way. And then him having a go, which I agree with. Maybe it isn't the players at Manchester United. Maybe it's United. And that part of it, I think I can completely understand because we are seeing other players leave United and being successful. Obviously, Marcus Rashford's doing all right at Aston Villa. You could look at Scott McTominay this summer. You could look at Mason Greenwood. You could look at a few different players that have left Manchester United and done well. You could go to as far back as Alvaro Fernandez. He's another player that left United. And I'm sure that many more will, but there is a stature at Manchester United. There is a pressure at this football club. We discussed it this morning, how Ruben Amorim is feeling the pressure of Manchester United's demands and expectation levels. Some players just don't cut it. I think Antony's an alright player. I don't think he had a really bad first season, to be honest, at Manchester United. He contributed a lot to United winning the trophy and getting into the Champions League. He has fallen off, however, though, and no one can deny that he has been pretty shit since that first season. Some would say he was even dog-turd in that first season as well. So, yeah, it's all right. And you're all right running your mouth right now because Antony's had a good start. Let's see where we're at in another month's time. And I hope, for one, that you are as bullish as you are now, Mr. Agent, and that Antony is still playing very well. And you can still hold him up there as one of the best in La Liga right now, like you have in this statement. I see where he's coming, but steady on. Stay in your lane and let's see if Antony can see out the rest of the season first. But does he have a point is what I'm saying to the chat right now. Because there are obviously a few fans that are turning on Ruben Amorim as well. And there are a few fans that are not convinced by him. And maybe that some players that are leaving United right now or have done in January should have been staying at the club. And he should have been getting more out of them players. So really what I'm looking for you from the chat is like, get your comments in on that and tell me, do you feel like Antony's agent has got a point here? Is it a club issue, not a player issue? Or is he just talking up his opportunity here because Antony's actually doing well at Betis? I feel there's a bit of both in here for me. I feel like he feels his player has had a raw deal at Manchester United, like many agents do. But like I said before, I do believe that these agents sometimes forget the amount of money that they're getting out of Manchester United. And steady on, because he's not left anywhere yet permanently. And you need to do your job again in getting him out of the door at Manchester United. So hopefully that's easier, because that means that Antony has done well. Hopefully you can be bullish and say that it was a wasted opportunity at Manchester United. Because let's be honest, not every single player fits the bill, even if they have got qualities and look good elsewhere. Sometimes they fit better at other clubs. And let's look at Real Betis' level. Let's look at Ajax's level. Let's look at what Manchester United is and the pressure of the club. Yes, you can argue the point. We are 14th, 15th in the league right now. We're not doing very well. And we have to lower our expectations. But when he came into Manchester United, we were competing. And he was part of competing. He wasn't consistent enough to keep competing. And he did play his role in Manchester United finishing 8th last season. And let's not forget that. He also was very, very bullish in celebrating in front of the Coventry City players' faces when we won on penalties after really sneaking that game away from Coventry by a toenail. Having been 3-0 up as well, by the way, in that game. So, yeah, there is plenty to be very, very careful about when it comes to defending Antony. That's all I would say. But does he have a point, everybody? Get into the chat and tell me. That is what his agent has said. That's where we're at with the situation right now. Is Antony right, or is his agent right in having to go back at Ruben Amorim? We all know about Antony's performances. We all know how poor he has been at times. We know what qualities he has got when he does turn it on. And I'm not talking about the Father Ferris wheel spin cycle that he does, the fidget spinner move. I'm talking about his tenacity. I think he works hard. I think he does like a bit of a scrap and a fight. I think he gets over. I think he overcooks it, to be honest. But let's be fair. I just don't think Manchester United was for Antony, and that I feel is where Antony's at right now, and I think his agent is just having a bit of a lash out because he can. Sorry about that, everybody. Just had to get myself reset there again. Right, let's get into the comments section. Adam, did you hear a difference in training? What the F is that? Please ask this fraud. Did you hear a difference in training? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sim. Here? I'm not sure. Just rephrase that one so I can come back at you with that one, buddy. Antony has no physicality. Ahmad is doing better. There's an issue. When Ahmad is doing better, there's an issue. I think you're supposed to say there. John Durham says, Antony put a shift in. He is just a winger who can't get past the fullback and cross the ball in the EPL. One trick pony. Fair and balanced analysis needed here. This talk about players not good enough for United has to stop. Does it? I think every single club does this, don't they? I think every single club and fans actually debate whether or not these players are good enough for their club, do they not? I mean, when you look at Antony, for instance, he was brought in for too much money. He was overhyped. He was seen as a Brazilian star winger from the Eredivisie that was going to take the Premier League by storm. And he just didn't. And when you look at not being good enough, you've got someone there in Ruben Amorim. You thought, you know what, work rate, understanding, gets up and down the line. Antony might have actually worked. I was actually calling it at one point that Antony might fit in just nicely for Ruben Amorim. And I thought that was something that we needed to actually talk about and get into, but clearly not. Clearly not with Ruben Amorim. I thought this was actually going to work for him, and maybe he gets a better chance and could fill in one of them wing-back roles. But no, it wasn't happening. And yeah, here we go. We're now looking at Antony lashing out, and obviously we're also looking at probably recouping a little bit of money for Antony, which is what we want more than anything, because it's not worked. He isn't going to play on the Ruben Amorim, and we need as much money as possible. And yeah, in terms of the press conference as well, everybody, Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim and defender Matthias de Ligt are penciled in to start speaking to the media around 6:15. So we're expecting these quotes coming out very, very quickly. Within the next few moments anyway. The updates will be with you. I will go through the quotes on what Ruben has said. Interesting pictures from myself and a few other people in and around Carrington this morning. We was there. We was watching the open training ahead of the Sociedad game. It was intriguing to see actually how Manchester United felt and the vibe around Carrington. And speaking to a lot of the media, I was speaking to Ben Ransom of Sky Sports, and just walking out of Carrington, it just felt, the vibe felt really, really strange around Carrington. It feels like a bit of a dead zone right now. I think that's the best word I could use to kind of describe it. It really doesn't feel like a harmonious place right now. We did get updates on a few players as well. Obviously, they're saying that Manuel Ugarte and Harry Maguire are knocks. Take that with whatever you want to in terms of sprinklings and toppings, because knocks for United are not really knocks. Let's be honest. Last time I was at Carrington, Luke Shaw walked out onto the training ground pitch. Then we heard that he picked up a bit of a knock in training, and it was just a minor setback. Over a month later, we've still not seen Luke Shaw, and the word from Carrington was there is no update whatsoever on Luke Shaw and Mason Mount coming back into Manchester United's team right now. Really, really disappointing. Like, what the hell is going on with them two? They were both supposed to be back now. The first time Luke Shaw was supposed to be back, got the setback. Even with United's first announcement on Luke Shaw, when they came out bullishly saying all of this news about Luke Shaw being out again was all just a little bit of overhyped, and it was just a knock and a little minor setback. We're over a month now since they announced that. Where is he? What's going on? It's ridiculous how he's still not on that training ground pitch. Someone needs to fill us in what is going on. Luke Shaw, nowhere near back. Mason Mount, no update on him. Still doing their own recovery work on their own. No sign of them being back. No sign of them being back this month either. They have to have been training for at least a couple of weeks before they consider to get back into the first team squad. So at best, we're looking at possibly seeing Mason Mount and Luke Shaw, around April? Does it even matter? The season could be over right then. And they could be walking out onto the pitch to bleeding booze. This is how bad this could get, the situation, if United don't get the victory over the next week against Sociedad. Is everything just holding out on that game? And we spoke about what Ruben Amorim said in the interview with TNT this morning as well, about this not being as important as what people are making out. Oh, it's crucial, Ruben. It really is for Manchester United. And I've said this before, I feel like Ruben Amorim feels like these players are not good enough, and that backing that he desperately needs in the summer isn't forthcoming. I really do feel like there is a concern that the situation financially for Manchester United is going to hold us back in terms of investment. We are going to have to sell an awful lot of players to try and get anything else through the door. Antony being one of them. Honestly, if his agent keeps on talking like this, I mean, one part of me thinks, shut up. Like, seriously, shut up. And then the other part's like, go on, fight Antony's corner, actually. Fight his corner, because everything that you do to build this player up and make him look like one of the best in the La Liga right now, it gives us more money. And that's the best bit about it. Keep fighting his corner, because at the end of the day, we're in a better position right now because of it. So yeah, keep on doing it, because that will give Ruben Amorim a chance to invest if Ineos can get more out of that sale when he does inevitably go in the summer. But around Carrington today, like obviously Manuel Ugarte and obviously Harry Maguire, we know that they were out. And like I said, Knox. I've heard somebody say that Harry Maguire is hamstringish, could be hamstringish. I don't know. It's picked up a knock, apparently. That's all they're saying right now. Manuel Ugarte the same. That may be why he came off the pitch. I don't know. Because we were surprised when Manuel Ugarte came off. I thought it was because of this game against Sociedad that Manuel Ugarte was off the pitch. But no, clearly not. Just an update on the press conference as well, by the way. There is a delay. We are still waiting for Ruben Amorim and Matthias de Ligt to appear for this pre-match press conference. We will notify you as soon as they are both here and it begins. That is word from a journalist out there in Spain, in San Sebastian right now. It always is the case with the European ones. They're always a little bit of a delay. I think Ruben just wants to get in and get this done, get out of the way, and get preparing overnight for his game tomorrow. By the way, we will have a watch-along here on FUTV tomorrow night for the game, so make sure that you're here, everybody. Get your comments in on what you was watching earlier on. I did a little bit of a live stream of the players in and around Carrington. Not a lot of you were impressed with what was going on. So give me your thoughts on that as well. Honestly, it's a weird feeling around Carrington right now. Weird vibe. The players... Someone actually said to me, and it was Sky who actually said, are these players deliberately doing the worst ever rondos you've ever seen? Like, why are they so bad? They don't look like decent footballers right now. Someone was actually saying that in and around Carrington today. Like, watching them players there, it's like, why are they so bad? Like, people picking up on things like that. I know it's not significant because that's not the actual training session, but while them players were faffing around, laughing and joking with each other, Ruben Amorim was about half a mile away on another training ground pitch. And I did pan across to Ruben, along with his thoughts, kicking a ball around on a pitch. I was like, I'm fully defensive of Ruben Amorim, as you know. But I'm like, that really doesn't set the right tone, does it not? That's a bit strange. He does this all of the time, though. That's his thing. He'll come onto the training ground pitch, first of all, with his coaches. He'll have a little chit-chat with them. And then he goes off on his own, million miles away, for the open training session bit, this is. So maybe he doesn't want people to see what he's really working with and what he's doing. Maybe that's the case and why he stands so far away. But he's a bleeding mile away. It's like he's not just standing back. He's actually on his own, kicking the ball around on another pitch. And that's what Ruben's doing. It just looks weird. It's a strange one. It really is. Sub N with a super chat. Thank you, mate. He says, Sir Alex once advised Rennie Mullenstein to leave a club manager job in Denmark because he was not getting backed. Ruben should do the same if not backed. I think we will start to see, and it'll be a test for Ruben Amorim on what he does next. If, like I said this morning, Ruben Amorim doesn't get the money that he needs, and he doesn't get the investment and backing that he's owed by this football club, then it's really going to test his resolve in what he actually does himself. And in a way, I don't know if Ineos are too bothered if he leaves or not. If he walks away, they don't have to pay. And that ultimately, for me, is probably a game plan for Ineos in a way, as like a safety net. They will go into this summer and they know. They thought that Ruben Amorim was going to turn this around. We weren't a million miles off. It was only a few points at the time when Ruben came in and took over Manchester United that we were away. I think we were single points away from the Champions League places. And it was a long shot, yes, but he still could have turned it around. And we were saying all of this morning, but I think that's what Ineos thought was going to happen. And then now you're looking at this and you're going, okay, these players right now have lost all faith in Ruben Amorim, it seems, or what's been said. And that alone is a worry and a concern. So even with a full pre-season, could Ruben Amorim get more out of these players than he's already got now? He's been with them for about 7 or 8 months before the pre-season. If they're not convinced by him, why would they be convinced more in a pre-season when he's drilling them and grilling them even more? That's a concern that we've got, obviously, as well. And I think that needs to be brought up in this. And maybe Ineos are sitting back. We are hearing stories that United's bid for Quenda is around 25 million as well. That story's been floating around today. So that to me says that United are not going out spending a lot of money. And they're not willing to pay top dollar for top targets, which is a little bit of a concern, I must say. I really do feel like United, if they want their targets, they're going to have to show some real intent to get them. And lowball offers like that might not cut it. And straight away, you're starting to worry, even with a pretty much nailed-on player like Quenda, that Manchester United might not actually be getting him because we're going in too low. That is a distinct possibility. It really is. Let me just see what else we've got in the chat here. Get your comments in, everyone. Daniel says, the agent should defend his client, but who bought him? Go get him a permanent move now. It didn't work. Hopefully he keeps it up, and the club recovers some of the transfer fee regarding Antony. Get your comments in on everything that we've spoken about there, including Antony, the squad. Manchester United are not taking a full squad to San Sebastian. They are not doing it. They're not risking everything. Ruben Amorim is in position. He is talking, everybody. And we are almost ready. We are, in fact, ready to go. They are both in situ, and straight away the question has been asked to Ruben Amorim about Manuel Ugarte and Harry Maguire. His answer to that was, we are being careful. They cannot play the game. Thanks. Yeah, that really is filling us in quite a lot there, actually. But yeah, in terms of Manchester United, just before the next question comes in, I was just talking about the travelling squad for Manchester United. It isn't big. You can play 12 substitutes in a Europa League game. Manchester United are taking 7. So he's leaving 5 players back. This is how threadbare his squad is right now. Andre Onana, Dermot Mee, Eli Harrison, Harry Mas, Diogo Dalot, Matthias de Ligt, Patrick Dorgu, Aiden Heaven, Victor Lindelof, Nusa Mazraoui, Lenny Yoro. They're the defenders that Manchester United are taking. When it comes to midfielders, Casemiro, Toby Collier, Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes. Forwards, Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. I know what you're thinking. Midfield and forward line look very, very, very scarce. They're sparse, don't they? There's nothing there. There really is nothing there. Amorim on United's current squad options and the future. Going off that, he's actually answered a question on that in the presser, and he says, because we are out of the cups, that could change a lot of things. Manchester United can have a goal, can have the goal to have the best players in the future. I understand that the Europa League can change things. Right. I reckon he's leading to what they can possibly go for in the transfer window with that comment there. Amorim on United's current squad options and the future. Because we are out of the cups, that could change a lot of things. Manchester United can have the goal to have the best players in the future. I understand the Europa League can change things. And I know the way he's been speaking about that there. That is him saying that if we win the Europa League, we're in the Champions League, and that will help us in the summer. That really is everything that we already know, but coming from Ruben Amorim's mouth tells you he has already been worded up about this summer and what's about to come. That's exactly what's happening there. I guarantee it. That's what's happening. He's been told that there isn't much unless we get into the Champions League. Amorim are not including more youngsters in his squad. That was the point I was just making. There was 5 places available on the bench for any of them players that they could have brought in through the B-list squad rule with UEFA in the Europa League. He says, I am trying to manage everything. It is a big step up for them. I am trying to think about every aspect. I am not thinking about what it will look like with their friends and the media. Ooh. Tiny little dig there about Ruben looking at what the media perceive this as and what people are looking at. I think he feels there's a culture situation going on right here. I get where he's going with this. He's basically saying we're not just going to put academy players into a first team squad for the sake of filling spaces on the bench. I think he's making a point by leaving 5 seats free. I really do. I think he's saying, look, if I don't think they're ready, they're not just going to come in. They're not just going to be thrown into stardom by joining the Manchester United travelling squad. I think that's what he's fearing. He's fearing that these players are going to think that they've made it before they actually have. And he's being very careful. And when he says, I'm trying to manage everything, I think that is what he's getting to there. I think that's what he's getting at. And I think he's right in a way. You don't need to rush these players in and take them on a trip that they're not going to play in. Them 5 extra players will get nowhere near that pitch. I guarantee it. Ligt has been talking as well on what's happening. Current situation, Ligt responded with, we have encountered a lot of pressure and a lot of criticism. For me, it is not something different as I have been at clubs where you are expected to win titles. You have to keep going, you have to work hard, and you have to improve. Clear and obvious answer from a professional footballer there. Well said, Mattes. We didn't expect anything else to come from his mouth there. Anything from everyone in the chat on this so far? Flash Talks in with a super chat who says, I feel for the likes of you, Adam. I have decided I am switching off completely from the club in June and July. I know the crap spin is coming. We will see. Unfortunately for me, mate, I will be there all over it. I have to stay positive and keep the vibes rolling, mate. That's what it's about. Why is he not taking more? Surely the Europa squad is a 25-man squad. No, he's leaving 5 spaces free, mate. That's what we're looking at. Select Pancho says, Adam, they have no confidence and under pressure. And describe as the worst United team in history. I truly feel they need our support to get them through the season and rebuild next season. Support they get in buckets, mate. We're not talking about the offline stuff here. When you're going out on that pitch, every single Manchester United fan in that stadium is right behind them players. There's no excuse not to turn out on the pitch for these players at all. And I think they need to be doing a lot more. Ligt also says you have we would have expected a little bit better than it is at the moment. We know we have not been good enough, and we will try to improve things. It's also something in the end a little bit to do with luck. We know we have to improve. A little bit of luck. We're going to need a lot more than luck, mate. He also goes on to say, that is the consequence. Champions League qualification. If you win the tournament, that is our main goal. We need to take it game by game. We have to put everything on the line to win the game, and hopefully we will get a good result tomorrow. Oh, God, I hope so, mate. I really do, because this fan base is ready. They are sharpening the knives right now for any underperformers in this team. I think we are ready to actually go in on these players right now. That's what it feels like. Sim says, you will see an idea. He said then, we don't want to win cups. That's after we've been knocked out. Well done. What a manager. Daz Sweet says, I think they have done the dishes as well. I'm not sure what that means. Steve says, all the agents will be rubbing their hands at the prospect of more money and contracts for the kids. Spirit of Lakota says, Amorim is shopping in Poundland for players instead of Harrods. Cost tights. Because tightwads, the gym, will not take a chance on the quality and pay a bit more. The academy must be our salvation next season. I think that's what it's leading to. I think we're seeing more and more of it. Please give the video a like as well, everybody. We're covering all the stories and Ruben Amorims Press Conference live now from Spain, talking ahead of the Real Sociedad game. He's talked about how Harry Maguire and Manuel Ugarte are out, why he's not actually taking more academy players in the 5 open spots that are available to him for the matchday squad. He's talked about the impression it leaves on social media and what it does for them with their friends. He's not just going to bring players in just for the sake of filling seats on a plane and on a bench. He's not wasting their time. They have to earn their place in the Manchester United squad to actually do something and contribute. And I get what he's saying by that. I really do. I think he's right in what he's doing there in not taking anyone else. Let's be honest. They're going to just go there. They're not going to feature. And it's just going to be a dead rubber, innit? That's what it is for them. They're not going to play. And they could be doing more. They could be back home training and getting on with real work. Amorim on the attraction of qualifying for the Champions League. If we win the Europa League, we will be in an amazing position next season. I think the system is not the problem. It is the way of playing. We have a lot of problems that we are trying to work on the problems. Every system needs different characteristics. I am still really confident. I will not change that. Is in my formation. Again, people asking him if he will change his formation or his style. No, he will not. Apparently, that is it for the press conference. That was as short and sweet as you can get. I said it before, didn't I? Ruben Amorim will just want to get in there and get out. But they are the quotes from Ruben Amorim and what is actually going down right now. I did want to also talk about the news that has just broke from FIFA as well. Being in the Champions League is absolutely huge. Winning the Champions League is monumental because they have just announced that this FIFA Club World Cup now is going to be to the value of £1 billion, which means if you go far out of this 36-team Club World Cup, if you go far in the competition, say you get to the latter stages, semi-final, final, you could be in for gaining £100 million. Yeah, 100 million is what you would get for the latter stages of getting into that competition, which is pretty much the same as the Champions League. And that's just for 4 weeks' work. So this mini tournament that is now going on after the season finishes in the summer is worth 100 million if you go far in it to every single club. That's what FIFA are investing in. And you were thinking it was going to be a Super League? Well, I think the Champions League now has just got added value to it. That's in dollars as well. That's what FIFA are ploughing in to the FIFA World Club Cup. It's scary. It really is. That type of money is just going to set teams miles apart. The only way you can get into the FIFA Club World Cup is if you have won, apparently, the Champions League in the last 4 years, which is why Chelsea and Manchester City are in it. I don't know if that criteria is ever going to change. If they want to make it a big tournament, then maybe they will. There have been calls for this to not happen because the players are knackered, the players are tired, and they're just absolutely worn out from the season. But when you throw that amount of money at a tournament, with the situation with financial fair play, PSR, then you're going to get these big clubs going all in on this tournament. And they're going to give it everything. That is a massive amount of money. You win the Premier League. So if you win the Champions League, you get all the riches of that. You then go into the Club World Cup. You could get as much as you did in the Champions League just in that 4-week tournament over the summer. That's what football is doing right now. It is overcooking the players, but the financial reward is going to outpower everything. This is a massive move from FIFA and UEFA in upping the money from the Champions League and then giving them another pot to dip into from the FIFA side of things as well. This is FIFA and UEFA pretty much saying that there is no chance that you are going to be taking these big teams away from FIFA and UEFA and from Europe into any Super League formed anywhere else. That, I think, is set in stone right now. United, for us, unfortunately, are a million miles away from any of that money because we're shit. And sadly, we're going to have to find our own way of making money, because that right there is just going to give more of an advantage to Manchester City, to Chelsea. The two teams that are actually being pulled right now, that have been under investigations with UEFA already, both being pulled by the Premier League already, and they're going to get rewarded by FIFA. It pains, doesn't it? It really does pain me to say it and talk about it. I may go into more detail about that, but that news came out. So the importance of the Champions League, again, is there financially for everybody to see. And that, I feel, is what Manchester United are now going to be missing out on. That's painful. It really is. Our season will all but be over tomorrow night. I'd like to be positive about the game, but fans need to realise that Sociedad are a good side, and I can't see us beating them over two legs. Our record against Sociedad in the past is pretty decent, to be honest. We have got a good record. I think we've only lost one of the last 6 against them, which is good. We are unbeaten away from home against Sociedad as well over the last few visits that we've gone there. So, and I don't think we've even conceded. I'm pretty certain we haven't conceded over there as well. So, good signs in terms of the past, but the past is so far away from where we are right now. And I get what Mr Dacia Sandero's saying there. They are a good team. They're a solid team. They only got beaten 1-0 by Real Madrid. They did get spanked 4-0 by Barcelona recently, though. So maybe that's smarting a little bit. But let's be honest, United are getting beaten by Crystal Palace and Fulham right now and scraping past Ipswich. Different calibre of opposition altogether. We are in no fit state to be confident going into this game. We need these players to absolutely bowl us over and show us something that we just all don't feel they've got. I'm pretty certain every single Man United fan is thinking the same right now. We don't believe in this team anymore. We will support the team. We just don't believe in them. They need to surprise us. They need to do something tomorrow that we haven't seen all season. That's it. Adam, you mentioned Ruben's style of system. What is it? Because I haven't seen any change. No, there has been change because the players have got worse and they can't handle that system, mate. That is the obvious change. Was it $1 billion or $100 million? No, what I was saying, the whole prize fund was $1 billion, and that's for the whole tournament. So if a team goes far, they will be looking to take about 100 million of that billion. So the billion is the investment into the tournament. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. The billion is invested into the tournament as a whole. There are 36 teams, and if you go far in the competition, you get more money. So if you get to the latter stages, say the last 4, you are in line to make 100 million, I suppose, around that mark. That's what's being reported and projected anyway. You'll see this. This is all over breaking news on Sky Sports. The $1 billion investment into the FIFA Club World Cup is going to get teams fully on to actually competing in this. And it is going to be massively rewarding for anybody who is in it. You've already won the Champions League to get in it, so you're already doing something right. And this is such a balancing of the books trigger. It really is. United could only dream of this situation right now. If we were still up there, if we were still competing, United would be fine. We'd have the Champions League money. We'd be able to balance the books. Ineos could come in and cut the wage bill down like they are doing now, and United would be even more profitable. But as it stands, I don't know. United are in desperate need of investment, and we don't have the money. That sort of cash is going to the big guns right now that are already light years ahead of us, and that's the concerning aspect of it. I said this morning, if and when City do win that case against the Premier League and the sponsorship and ownership situation is changed, and then teams that are owned by a company that want to sponsor that team through their own company can charge pretty much what they want and put into the club what they want through a sponsorship deal, that will open the door to the Saudis coming in from Newcastle. You already got these teams that are miles ahead of us that have got a better chance of competing at the highest level, which we've just said is worth now upwards of hundreds of millions. United are a million miles away. I don't know how we bring more money into the club. I don't know how they do it. Show us how good a businessman you are right now, please. Anyone at United, the only way I see anything changing is by accepting that we're not there. Half of the squad goes, and we rely on the youth and a few more transfers coming in. I'm going to keep on saying that because that's all I can see happening, because I don't think we have got the money to spend this summer. I'm expecting some unknown, crafty, sneaky little deals to go through. I'm not expecting any bonanza. But if United do surprise everybody, do manage to somehow win the Europa League, even though Ruben Amorim is saying it's not the bigger picture right now, and it isn't as important as what they're building at the club, it bleeding is. It really is. And we need to be in this competition right to the end. Even just to get the finances out of it for this season to help Manchester United going into the summer. It is desperate times for the football club. It really is. So we got comment-wise. Get your comments in, everybody. Make sure that you have subscribed to the channel to make sure that you can get into the live chat, everyone. United is out from Sociedad, Onana era, and adios, says Ill United. Ideally need to win tomorrow because we will fluff it at Old Trafford, says Stephanie. I can see that, Steph, actually. I really can. Sandero says, exactly, I have never wanted any season to be over in all my years in supporting United, but I do now. It's embarrassing, isn't it? The grief we are getting from opposing fans, especially on socials. Honestly, I'm about to go on to the Hybrid Squad YouTube channel, and Sophie, I think, is going to absolutely tear me apart in terms of looking ahead to the Arsenal game this weekend. Oh, we are getting it from every single angle, aren't we? We really are. It is so disappointing to be a Manchester United fan right now. When you're looking at all of these projections and all of the money that these other clubs could be getting because they're actually performing well. They're doing a decent job. They're getting into the Champions League. They're performing in the Champions League. Aston Villa and Arsenal are pretty much already set to be in the final 8. Both with amazing away wins yesterday. And like, where are United? And it's so painful to watch them do well. And credit to them both. Credit to both Villa and Arsenal. But they will be quids in from that. And their budgets compared to United's, oh, good God. It'll be night and day. It really will. And in a way, do you know what? Maybe if City win their case, maybe there will be calls for Ineos being the owners of Manchester United and this multi-billion dollar industry that they got and their portfolio of money and businesses that they've got. Maybe there will be a sponsorship deal in the offing for Manchester United. Maybe all of these sponsorship deals that they're saving and pulling out of right now, from cycling, from sailing, from rugby, from everything that they're invested in, maybe if they're pulling all of that money out, they could just plough it into United. This will be a real test for Ineos as well going forward and what they're doing. So yeah, reality tells us that businessmen will end up winning in the end of the day because there's more money coming in. I think that's what will end up happening at United. I think they'll find a way to sponsor Manchester United to try and raise money and try and get all the way through to that development phase where they can then sell the land to the government around Old Trafford for the regeneration project, which will earn them probably multi hundreds of millions, if not billions, in terms of grounds and land, which is where the big play is in all of this. And we've known that for a long time. It's so easy to bet. United finances sorted by the book in a few steps. One, Sir Jim Ratcliffe agrees with the Glazers to return every cent they took as dividends. 2, he refunds them, then clear the debt. We all wish, yes. And then you woke up with your head in a bowl of soup or something because you were dreaming. We need out of Europe next year. The media hysteria needs to go for any youth to grow. The insecurities and anxiety must go. We are where we deserve. The tail can't wag the dog anymore. United look doomed right now. Sad days, says Gehan. Yes, Gehan, you're right, mate. They are sad days. Like I just said then, it is one of despair right now amongst the whole United fan base. Adam, do you differentiate a system and a formation? I'm a bit confused by the two. Can you differentiate system and a formation? A formation is black and white. It's just numbers put onto a page and where the players set up. A system is triggered through different moments in games and where you want the players to be at different stages, like when the opposition's in a certain part of the pitch, or whether it's counter-attacking, whether you've learned how they're approaching the game. You adjust the system within the opposition, within the game. So that's what happens with the planning of a football game. If you're looking at the opposition, the system takes over. Your formation is your basic, and then the system takes over the formation. And then you work it in different ways. As a 3-4-3 could easily turn into be the 5 at the back. And it could be a 5-3-2, basically. That's what it ends up being all of a sudden. And a 5-3-1. Whatever it is, Ruben Amorim just cannot get it into these players. It's where he wants the starting positions and finishing positions to be. It's when the striker's making that run where he wants his wing-backs to be. And he can't get them there because they're not natural wing-backs. They're defensive players and they cannot play the way that Ruben Amorim wants them to play. That's the issue that we've got right now. But that is pretty much everything for the show this evening, everybody. Thank you so much. We did hit over 200 likes. That's a mega. We got some more subscribers in as well. So if you are new, welcome along to the channel. Get your comments in on the comments section below once the live is finished. If you are catching up later on, please do hit that subscribe button that's on your screen right now. Give the video another like. Talk to me even more, like I said below. Thank you all of the mods, members, donations, everything throughout the show. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Come and watch me on the Highbury Squad on YouTube to see an Arsenal fan take the mick out of me. Basically, that's what it is. Give the video a like, subscribe.